You're listening to Let's Stay Together Anime Break, the sub-series of Let's Stay Together where we talk about the 2019 Anime Fruits Basket. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 10, which is called Who Are You? Or as we called it, Who Are You?
I really wanna know.
There's more swearing in that song than I remember from all the commercials, the TV commercials. After we recorded that, I listened to it. I was like, oh. Good times.
I love when there's a song that they only put like part of in like a movie trailer or something, and then you look it up and you're like, oh, that's why they only put part of it.
Or just like the musical part, not the lyrics. And you're like,
Yeah.
I see. We're going to do our summary discussion and spoiler-free summary discussion. Summary? What am I even saying? Summary, spoiler-free discussion, and then spoiler discussion like we always do.
It's a summary.
A summary. Summer's almost over. The beach arc is almost over. It's not even the middle of summer
yet. It's our last summary.
It might be. I don't know. I don't know what's coming in the next episode. Spoiler alert for the rest of this episode of this podcast. I don't know what the title for the next one is from, so...
I know, but I cheated.
Okay. Well, good. We can talk about it later in the spoilers. I was busy. I was
By
busy
cheating,
saving my
I
Spotify
saw people
account.
talking about it online, and I was like, oh, that is what that's from.
Oh. Okay, let's talk about it later. Let's talk about not spoilers right now. This episode covered the content from chapter 64 and 65 of the manga, and we covered it in our podcast episode number 33. I checked it this time. I verified this time, unlike last time, which was called With All the Power I Can Muster. Thank you. Proud of myself. For doing my due diligence, that I didn't do last time. The episode opens with Tohru, Yuki, Haru, Kisa, and Hiro admiring the collection of fireworks that Momiji bought. Though Tohru has forgotten it's the last day of their beach trip, and Yuki worries that they may have made her lonely because of their family circumstances, but Tohru reassures them that she's truly happy that she could spend summer with them. And then we cut to the opening theme. After the opening theme, it's time for the Mogeta anime special, and Tohru goes to get Momiji, who wanted to watch too, but he's out of the room. On her way to Momiji, Tohru thinks that Yuki and Kyo have changed quite a bit since coming to the beach. And what about me, she wonders. She hears Momiji and Kyo talking from around the corner in the hallway. Momiji asks Kyo if he has to go to the house again tomorrow to visit Akito, and it turns out that he doesn't. If I said I was happy for you, would you get mad at me? He asks, and Kyo says that he wondered why everyone kept abandoning Tohru, but now he understands that they were doing it to protect Tohru. Momiji says that Kyo makes it sound like they're doing a good thing, but I've been doing it all wrong, he says. I'm selfish for wanting to make memories with Tohru despite everything. I'm selfish for loving Tohru so much. I'm selfish too, Kyo says with a smile. Momiji is like, huh? But Tohru hurriedly wipes her tears from her eyes and collects herself and then comes around the corner to collect Momiji to go watch the anime. And while they're watching the anime episode, which is amazing, Mogeta is pink? I was confused. Isn't he normally yellow? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't remember what they did in the first time that we saw Mogeta. This is a sidebar, I guess. Didn't they have an earlier episode with Mogeta? Was he pink?
Yeah. I don't know. I think he was
in the
like,
movie.
Wasn't he like possessed or something? So
it's
hard to say if his color was
due to the possession. Yeah, you're right. He's like, don't do it, Mogeta, and Mogeta's like, okay, or whatever in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Anyway, while they watch, Tohru thinks that she wants to do something more for everyone, to change something. Elsewhere, at the Annex Beach House, Shigure sits with Akito in the dark. I don't remember what they called it. Didn't they just call it the guest house?
You just come up with a different name for it every time.
Yeah, I do. Someone in the last episode, one of the characters in the last episode used the word annex, so I started using that. Now it's the Annex House. Usually, because I don't know what it's... Yeah, exactly. The dialogue isn't as consistent. The main beach house. I think later in this script it's the big beach house, but yeah, no. Yeah. I'm glad you appreciated my running joke, I guess, because they refer to it somewhat inconsistently in the dialogue itself in the subtitles. So I'm sure it's like the same word, but in the subtitles it's a little different every time. So anyway, there in the dark, Shigure sits with Akito. He asks why Akito brought Kureno, and Akito says that Kureno seems to be out of sorts recently. Shigure says that he might be stressed, and Akito says that he's the one who's stressed. Shigure asks from what? Why is he displeased? I'm displeased with you, Akito says, and Shigure frowns. You're not kind to me at all, he says. Shigure argues that he is. Not kind enough, Akito yells, standing. The wrap that he typically wears falls off of his shoulders. His eyes are wide, and he acts deranged. You were much kinder before. You only looked at me. Akito remembers a flower being given to someone. I don't know, the memory's vague. He leans over Shigure, holding his face. Do you actually... The woman... Kureno knocks on the door and interrupts with a message from the main estate. Is Ren-san getting rowdy again? Shigure asks from the other side of the room. You want to know? Akito asks. Without confirming or denying anything, Akito leaves with Kureno, and Shigure looks displeased. Akito goes to get changed, and as he does, still looking deranged, he repeats, that woman. Kureno checks on him, but it turns out that Akito is nowhere in sight. At the big beach house. Oh, sorry, go ahead, please. Please. Do it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you. At the big beach house, as stated before that it would be called, Momiji reviews the fireworks for tomorrow and pats them gently before heading to bed, which is a gesture from the manga, but I appreciated it just as much in the anime. As he passes an open curtain, he sees Akito standing in the yard. Did anyone else freak out when they saw this? Like, I knew it was coming, and I was still like, oh shit.
Yeah, they did give it kind of a horror movie vibe,
so
with the barely open curtains as he walks by.
And Akito is so pale. Yeah. He just looks like a ghost. It was terrifying. Momiji goes outside to speak to him and asks Akito what he's doing there. I came to see Tohru Honda, he says with a menacing grin. Tohru, who couldn't fall asleep in her room, gets up to take a walk. Outside, Akito says that he has to leave soon, hasn't seen Tohru yet. Momiji says she's probably asleep. Wake her, Akito says. No, Momiji says, spreading his arms and standing to block Akito from entering the house. You're mad right now, right? You'll take out your anger on her, right? What's wrong? Why are you so mad? Momiji says. What? Why do you want to know? You want to get to know me? To understand me? Why? Akito grimaces, then punches Momiji, screaming, You make me sick! Understand me? You just want to belittle me. You just want to define me by the reasoning that gives you the upper hand. Akito picks up Momiji by the shirt collar, and Tohru, who's come around the corner upon them, yells at Akito to stop. She stands between Momiji and Akito. Stop? Why are you giving me an order? Akito says. How terrible. You're not a very nice person. But Tohru Honda, I was kind enough to come see you. I don't care how disrespectful you are to me. There's something I came to tell you, Akito says, taking Toru's cheeks in his hands and pulling her close. Don't be so full of yourself, scum. You might think that you saved Yuki and Kyo. Better take that arrogance down a notch right now. Let me tell you something. You see, after high school, Kyo will be confined, just like the previous cat, for life. And Yuki and everyone else will live and die in the Soma estate with me. All the Juunishi will live in the same place, in the same position, at the same pace. They will not take, and nothing will be taken from them. Forever, unchanging, a future of happiness, an eternal banquet. But I'm not letting you join us. Akito starts to walk away. Is that true happiness? Tohru says, voice shaky, to be confined in the Soma estate? And she thinks, all the effort everyone is making to continue moving forward. Akito says, will you stop saying that like it's a bad thing? A stranger like you has a different way of life than us. It's not so simple that you can just decide if it's right or wrong. It starts to rain. Who are you? Tohru asks. Akito looks frustrated. He comes back over to Tohru. Who are you in the Juunishi? She asks. Tohru remembers her mom telling her the story of the zodiac as a child. Once upon a time, God told all the animals. Akito takes her cheek in his hand. The word God reverberates in Tohru's memory. To the Juunishi, above all others, my existence is equivalent to that of God, Akito says. He pulls away, scratching Tohru's cheek deeply. I'm the commander of their souls. Kureno finds them. Akito calls him over and introduces him. This is Kureno Soma, the rooster, he says. Nice to meet you, Kureno says back awkwardly. Akito comes back over to Tohru. Tohru-san, all the zodiac will come to me in the end. They can never be separated from me, so don't try to ruin our blessing anymore. Stop meddling and behave, or else you'll be punished. Tohru falls to her knees after Akito and Kureno leave. Akito-san is God, the one who stands above the Juunishi. That's why they couldn't disobey him, she thinks. Then what about the curse? An unknown chain that binds. The end point to everything. It binds everything, binds everyone, and Akito-san? Suddenly, Tori and Shigure find Tohru in the yard, and Tori inspects her face. Shigure explains that Momiji went to find them, and Tohru asks about him. Tori tells her not to worry. He's standing nearby. When she sees Momiji, Momiji starts to try to apologize, but he can't, and starts to cry. Tohru hugs him. Tori and Shigure comment on Momiji's handling of the situation with Akito. He really hung in there. Compared to him, look at the rest of us. Inside, Yuki, Haru, and Kyo watch as well. Haru holds Kyo back. It's so pathetic I could puke, Kyo says, and he leaves. So he thinks that he's pathetic sometimes too, huh? Yuki says. And in the subtitle actually says she, which is weird, but I'm pretty sure he's talking about Kyo, so I don't know why they translated it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I was like, that's...
Sure
anyway.
It's supposed to be Kyo.
Kyo, yeah, I know. Anyway, whatever, it's fine. Also, he would say Tohru if he was talking about Tohru. He says, like, Aitsu instead of someone's name, so I'm pretty sure he's talking about Kyo. Anyway, Haru says it's hard to protect someone. Huh?
I was like, Japanese is hard. We'll give him a break.
Yeah, I know. It's tricky. All those gender-neutral pronouns. Especially the ones that are, like derisive or whatever. Where it's like, that guy.
Yeah.
Haru says it's hard to protect someone. Yuki remembers his and Toru's encounter with Rin in the woods. Yeah, it's not easy to protect someone, he agrees. Night turns to early morning, and Tohru sits on the edge of the bed that she shared with Momiji and Kisa. Even so, Tohru thinks, I want to protect them. I'll protect them no matter what. She smiles and she strokes Momiji's cheek. Later at the beach, the rain has cleared up, but it's not quite sunset yet. Momiji excitedly insists that they should go ahead and set off fireworks. Hiro asks why both Momiji and Tohru were hurt. Oh, I fell while I was walking last night, right, Momiji-kun? Tohru says, and Momiji looks a bit surprised but then relaxes. They rest their foreheads together and share a sympathetic smile. We're two bees in a pod, Momiji says, and Hiro's like, you mean peas? Kyo furthers a distraction tactic by asking which one of the fireworks will be first. And Momiji has already decided, and then they set off this weird, like, snaky, smoky firework that gets longer, question mark. And everyone is like, that's terrible. And Toru's like, it was worth it. It was worth seeing it once. Tohru asks if Kyo set off fireworks before. He says that he did when he was little. Shisho found out that he'd never set off fireworks before, and he bought a bunch. I remember discovering how fun they were, he says. And he asks if Tohru has set off fireworks before. She says that she did with her mom, and it was fun. She says Mom said she got excited when she saw fire or fights. And as all the other kids run past holding sparklers, Kyo is like, is that her Yankee blood? Haru and Yuki read the instructions for another firework, which I assume is a bottle rocket. I don't know. We weren't allowed to shoot this off, so I'm not sure. But it says to put it in a bottle. Yuki says, oh, it says not to point it at people or buildings, to Haru, who has pointed it directly at Kyo, who complains loudly about it. Don't worry, you can dodge it. I believe in you, Haru says.
Like don't try this at home that flashes on the screen.
Yes. Yes, the most important part. Don't point bottle rockets at your friends.
Yeah,
or buildings
illegal,
or whatever.
Like in most places where we grew up.
Exactly. That's why I was like, oh, if it says put in a bottle, I think that it's a bottle rocket, but I have no idea. So we probably could have set off the like smoky, snaky thing. I have no idea what that is though either. I've never seen that. They did have those what looked like the sparklers with the terrifying paper around them that burned me as a child. I can't remember we talked about this before. I feel like we talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah, the paper ones aren't probably the last time we were talking about
probably. From far away, Rin sees the group on the beach and then turns and leaves. Tohru narrates, Shisho's-san didn't show Kyo fireworks for confinement, and Yuki-kun doesn't continue to fight because he wants to return to the Somas. Probably deep in their hearts, everyone has futures that they want the freedom to hope for. But if the curse restrains them from doing so, I want to break that curse. I'm probably overreaching my place. It's easy to say you'll protect someone, but even so, if they're all set free from everything and have days when they can truly cry and truly laugh, and even if I'm punished, I want to break that curse. Yuki hands Tohru a sparkler, and they talk a dangerous sparkler. They talk about how everyone's having fun together. Yuki says they've never all gotten together like this before. It's strange, he says. Summer comes every year, but the same summer never comes again. This time I got to spend it with you is important to me. When Luigi comes to sit with them on the stairs by the beach, then he and Yuki lure Kyo over despite his initial stubborn refusal, by teasing him, essentially. As the final big fireworks go off, Tohru thinks, I want to protect the path that they all walk on with all my strength. And then we cut to the credits. Yay. Fireworks. It was a good fireworks scene. Every anime needs a fireworks scene. We talked about this before, last time, when we talked about this a year ago. It was October. I checked the date when I looked at the episode. That was when summer actually bled into fall. Instead of summer being in spring.
Well, it was like 90 degrees, so...
It was hot. It was probably hot for you, yes.
Yeah, so it feels like summer.
It was probably cold for me by then. I'm looking sadly into the distance, but nobody can see it. I still haven't gotten the hang of this medium. Okay, good. So this was a great episode. How about that? Can we start off by saying that? Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
I enjoyed the music a lot. There was a lot of different background music. Also, the scene with Akito was really scary, and I liked that. Also, Akito's straight up really punch Momiji in the face. I thought it was a slap. I don't remember. Wait, I need to
Yeah, they
look.
added some blood to this episode.
Yeah, they did.
Had a little spray of blood when Akito punched Momiji, and then like the scratch marks on Tohru's face started bleeding, which
right
they
away.
didn't do in the manga. Yeah.
Nope. Well, I mean, I feel like that's accurate.
Yeah.
I am reviewing. Oh, I think Akito's making a fist. I was just wrong. I just remembered it incorrectly. I blocked it out of my memory, probably.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
remember
upsetting.
it as a punch, but it was much harsher and like being animated and with the like spray of blood from his nose.
I mean, yeah, of course. It's visceral.
Yeah. In general, I think like the animation and the voice acting did a really good job of like making like Momiji's like absolute terror in that scene.
It was very obvious that he was terrified, and he like hides behind. I caught a lot of the action description there because Akito is talking about things that I think are important to talk about for the episode, but he's like cowering behind Tohru in like a way that's like you can tell that he's trying not to be scared,
like
but he
doesn't want to be like cowering, but he's like the part where he like says Akito's name and just like buries his face in his hands. Like it's obvious that he's like completely helpless to do anything but be terrified.
There's also times that I found really interesting where Akito calls Tohru stuff that's like not super harsh. Like he's like it's translated as like, "Oh, you're awful, like scum or whatever." And they both like really reacted to that. So, it doesn't I feel like there's so many worse things you could call somebody. Even with my limited knowledge of Japanese, I feel like I know. But like it's more like I think that it shows Akito's power specifically over the Juunishi with Momiji's reaction, and then also just like the way that Akito's being super like commanding and physically intimidating.
Yeah, he's just like how scary Akito's temper is, rather than like the words themselves.
That's fucking terrifying. Yeah. And also like I love, I don't know what other people's opinions are, but I love Akito's voice actor because she's like scary as fuck. So she says things, I think like the lines that she chooses to make scarier are always really interesting. Like I can't think of a good one offhand, but like it'll be like 90% of the conversation, 90% of Akito's lines are like, it's like a tone that's like, I'm very annoyed with what you're talking about, or like I'm, like a kind of like a reprimanding parent or something. Like it has like I'm seething inside, but I'm not letting it out. And then it's just like from that to like 11 of like of rage and like kind of like a deranged look, and it's crazy. It's like it's cool. I don't know. Like
the transitions from the like almost polite to just like unhinged rage is like really well done.
It's like one line. It's like the end of it's like the end. She's just like says something really intense. It sounds like it's stuff that you read it and you're like, oh shit. Like especially like when she threatens Tohru at the end and she's like something that it would be easy to really like overact or like yell, where she's like, or else you'll be punished, or else you'll be punished. It's like, or else you'll be punished by, and it's like very like everything's very like matter of fact, but then sometimes things just go way off the rails. Like when Akito was like leaning over Shigure and being like that woman, it's like seems like out of nowhere. Like the person who's portraying Akito is really good at portraying Akito's nature of just turning on a dime and seeming sort of like kind of lethargic, depressed. Like I don't even know what Akito's always in the dark. Akito's almost never outside, even in these chapters at the beach. And then going from sort of like withdrawn to like completely enraged and like deranged. It's very interesting. I appreciate it a lot. It's fucking terrifying. I know I talked about it already, but the Momiji seeing Akito in the yard was also terrifying.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't expect to see you there. Except I knew.
Yeah, the way it was like shot isn't the right word since it's animated. Framed,
I mean,
guess.
like
the cinematography of
the shot
scene.
was planned. Yes, the scene was orchestrated.
Yeah, it's like it makes it really spooky because like I could be wrong, but I feel like the windows were just open in the manga.
I don't know. I brought it with me.
Or at least more open. But
I brought my stack of books today for recording. And it's like for some reason there's a bookmark on that page for whatever reason, or like around then. I'm pretty sure he just like. It's similar, but it's drawn from a different angle. So Momiji walks
like
away.
Just, But just like the way it's like he walks past like just a little slit open in the curtains and like sees Akito out there, like just really like almost a flash. Like it's really spooky.
Well, the thing is that the thing about the manga is that it's the same scene where he like past the thing and he walks by and then you see him look out the window, which is a very similar shot to the anime. But then what happens in the anime is that we see Akito from inside the house. So we see Akito outside the house. Mm-hmm. In the manga, it's drawn looking inside. So it's like Akito, it's from the perspective of being behind Akito, looking at Momiji inside the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's like, from Momiji's perspective, it's like shown as more of like a surprising thing. Like he like caught his out of the corner of his eye as he walked by, rather than like we see Momiji look out the window and then we see Akito. Like,
I don't know. It does have more of like a horror movie vibe because it's more like Akito like appeared, as opposed to. It's the same also, like, Akito also just disappears from the room. So, like, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened.
That was different.
I think it was.
I looked that up, because, like, Akito and Kureno, like, leave together.
Yeah.
Leave the house together, and then, like, it's implied that, like, Akito, like, gives him the slip at some point afterward. But at this point, it's like we see Akito, like, raging in the room as he changes, and then, like, Kureno checks on him and he's gone, so.
Yeah. There is no scene where Kureno checks. So it's like Akito just changing and saying that woman, and that's the end. There's no scene in between where Kureno like checks and notices Akito isn't there.
Yeah.
That's like the scene where, like, I feel like in another story, he would have opened the thing and then, like, the thunder would have cracked and, like, the lightning, you would have seen, like, the flash in the room and nobody's there.
Yeah, I also liked, talking about, like, tiny changes to that scene. I liked how they had, in the anime, they had Akito, like, start to walk away.
Yeah, Akito
and then,
comes
come back
3
in
times.
the middle. Yeah. I think it kind of led to that. We talked about it a bit, like, when we talked about the manga version of the beach. We talked about how, like, Akito's, like, trying to, like, reestablish dominance, basically, and is, like, convinced that he's doing it. But we see that, obviously, everyone's, like, starting to move away. But I think it kind of, like, worked in that pattern, because, like, it seemed like Akito, like, walks away very satisfied, like, I have told Tohru what's what, and she won't interfere anymore. And then, like, when she starts to talk about, like, is that happiness, it, like, you know, he comes back much more angry.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. In the manga, which I am looking at now, he stays there the whole time. So he lets her face go, but then he just stays there while she asks the questions and asks, "Who are you?" And then he grabs her face again. But yeah, you're right. He walks away and then comes back. And
I was just adding that little bit of, like Akito kind of walking away, seeming satisfied for a moment until Tohru speaks up again.
Just got to the part of the manga with Momiji not being able to apologize. It's so sad.
Yeah.
I thought that was also well done. To skip ahead, but yeah, it's interesting. So there's a couple little changes that make Akito seem even scarier, I think, which is
another cinematography
enjoyable.
thing I liked is like how like the first couple shots of Akito at the house like cuts off like the top of his head, like you can barely even like see his eyes. It's really spooky.
You just see his scary smile. And then after Momiji argues with him, you see his like creepy eyes, angry eyes.
Yeah.
I guess one other minor difference that I noticed, I don't know if there's anything else to say about Akito, except that Akito, well, I guess we should say, it's important to point out that I guess if you just listen to these and you haven't read the story, Akito is it's revealed in this, the big reveal in this episode is that Akito is the like god figure in the juunishi myth. And I also liked the effect where Tohru remembers the story and then the word, like God just like reverberates in her memory, like in that, like they put a reverberating effect on it. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always liked that.
It's a good reveal.
Like how they did that in the manga with her remembering the story over the reveal, and like I think they did a good job translating it to the anime.
Yeah, it's always interesting how it's like her mom. You know, it's like a childhood story, and then you have this like confrontation of a person who's just terrifying at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember at this point how they did it in the like first episode of the anime, but I remember I always liked the parallel of like. When the like at the very beginning when the animal transformations first are revealed, she remembers her mom like telling the story about like the cat and the rat part of it, and then like in this she remembers the god part of the story in the same way.
Yeah, you're right. It's it is. I think it's similar. It's like definitely probably in the anime they did it similarly too, where it's like her mom's voiceover. And it's like the cat who was left out didn't get to go to the banquet. And then it's then Kyo's the cat.
It has to, and the cat was always chasing after the rat. Yeah.
Yes. There's so another little tiny minor difference that I noticed, but it stood out to me, was in the aftermath where they're in the bedroom with Momiji and Kisa, and I'm pretty sure in the well, wait, I don't have to be pretty sure. I can be 100% sure, where she thinks that she wants to protect them and stuff like that, and it's early in the morning, kind of after the dust settles, and where she's sitting on the bed and she she touches her cheek and then she looks down at Momiji and she's like, I want to protect them. Actually, there is no narration that's hers. It's so there's this so Yuki and Haru have their conversation and it says, Yuki says protecting someone isn't simple, and then there's this narration that says, but even so, I want to protect her above all else, and it shows Tohru touching her cheek and looking at Momiji and Kisa in bed and then smiling. So it's actually not her narration at all. Didn't they make it they made it Toru's narration in this, where she's like, I want to protect them, and she actually reaches down and touches Momiji's cheek or strokes his head or something, which I thought was very sweet and kind of motherly. We talk about how Yuki sees Tohru as kind of a mother figure, I think, before, and there was earlier evidence of this in the beach episode where she fluffs the sheet, covers them with the kids who are sleeping with the blanket and stuff like that. But it just reminded me of, it just seemed like they were building on that idea with that little gesture, which was nice.
Yeah.
I liked it. It doesn't really make sense for that narration to be Yuki's. All the rest of the narration in this, at the end of this chapter, is Toru's, so, or this part of the story is Toru's, so it kind of makes sense for it to be something Tohru thinks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also another tiny difference is that Rin is there at the end watching them. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yuki does remember her. He remembered her during his conversation with Haru. That also happened in the manga, but it didn't. It happened in the anime. But this, the scene of her kind of watching them at the end and leaving was interesting. I feel like it implies something that totally makes sense, but I didn't really pick up on when we read the manga, which is, maybe Rin was there to make sure nothing bad happened to Haru. I don't know. But I always wondered why she was there. I don't remember if we ever really talked about it. At the time when we talked about this before. But
yeah,
it certainly seems like that's the case.
Yeah, because the whole thing about her saying that she doesn't want anything to do with Haru anymore, but it's because she's trying to protect him.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes more sense. And then Yuki also thought about her. Like I just said, he thought about her when they were talking about protecting people. I did that in the manga too, and I don't know why, I don't know, maybe we talked about it, maybe we pointed it out, I forget, but I just, made more sense
I think
to me
it's,
this time.
Yeah, I think, I think the anime edition helped, make it seem like it's kind of goes both ways. This is kind of spoilery, I think, that we're talking about right now, but,
maybe, yeah.
I think the anime makes it more, that edition makes it more clear that it goes both ways, whereas I think Yuki was more realizing that, because, I don't think he'd fully realized what the, Rin and Haru situation was yet at that point. And so, Haru being oh, it's hard to protect people, made him kind of, go, oh.
It's true. And then we've also seen her, sneaking around the main house, which I guess it makes sense. She's kind of skulking around. So I think it puts her, skulking around in kind of a different context, too. Because it looked like she was doing something kind of, nefarious. Especially with her, weird, scene with, sexual scene almost with Shigure, where it was what are you doing? And then we know that she broke up with Haru. So it kind of puts her, mysterious activity, I think, into a bigger context of maybe being more about watching what's going on with him. And maybe in a more benevolent way than some other type of way.
Yeah.
Whatever way you could interpret it. But yeah, I don't know. So that was something that just, the anime made it a little bit clearer for me, even though we just talked about this whenever I just said in October, and also read this 1,000 times. I'm it's interesting. I always enjoyed the fireworks scene where Momiji's I know which one is going to be the good one, and then it's awful. It was really funny. Yeah. And then when Haru points the bottle rocket at Kyo, always good for a laugh. Yeah. That's why I insisted in keeping all the dialogue in when I wrote it, because I think it's funny.
Yeah. I like the little scene of the kids running around in the background.
Yes.
With sparklers.
Yeah, they added a bunch of kind of depth to the scene, so they're running around with sparklers. Kyo and Tohru were talking, and then Yuki and Haru were doing their thing in the front, kind of in the foreground, so that was nice.
Yeah. It's a party.
A party. We also heard in this episode about the mysterious Ren-san, who we haven't heard of before. No. I think Shigure did mention her before.
I think we had like one passing mention of her like an episode or two ago.
Yeah. I guess I just wanted to point that out again.
When he was talking with Hattori about like, why is Kureno here?
Oh, and then he's like, something about Ren, and then Hattori was like, you mean
Ren? Hattori's like, don't talk about that.
She who must not be named. Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be that Ren was causing a stir at the main house, whatever it was. No idea what it was.
Whoever she is, whatever
she's doing. And that's why Akito like had to leave or whatever.
It's like, we know it's probably a she since Akito's going, that woman. But that's about all.
I think they said, didn't they say something else? I forget. But yeah, I don't know. It seemed like, well, it's difficult to interpret. Could it have been about Tohru? I don't know. You know, it's ambiguous. It could be.
Yeah, I do think it was kind of the addition of it making seem like Akito goes like straight over to talk to Tohru afterward.
Yes.
Like by showing like Akito like disappearing from the room. I do think the like raging like that woman makes it clear that like there was some kind of transition into being mad about Tohru.
Yeah. Even if Akito started off being mad about Ren. Yeah, I know. It makes it clear there's some issue that's beyond just Akito. Akito's like, it's ambiguous what Akito's talking about with Shigure. Akito is like, you need to be nicer to me or whatever, and like, it said something about that woman. I forget exactly what Akito says. And then gets cut off, and then continues to say that woman, and then also goes to attack Tohru, or goes to visit, quote unquote, visit Tohru. Yeah. So Akito is mad about multiple things, it seems. Yeah. And Momiji points that out too. Momiji is like, oh, you're angry. You're going to take your anger out on Tohru, right? Why are you mad? Yeah. Which just makes it worse, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because like I think in the manga, like they seem like kind of more two separate scenes rather than being like kind of a connected event. Since they have like it ends and then like you go to like over to the house rather than having like Kureno like looking in and like, oh, Akito's gone, and then like, oh, Akito's at the house. Like it made it like a clear like this is what happened.
The killer's inside the house. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It does seem like that. I mean, I think it's also just a function of the medium, because it's like you got to flip the page, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are like the addition of little scene does tie it more together, so that makes sense. But it's interesting. Just little small things. We're good at finding little things that I think make a difference in how the story's told. I think even Toru's dialogue about the curse, not like changes stuff, but she does say afterward, after the encounter with Akito in the manga, that like Akito, the bond that binds the juunishi also involves Akito. Like it's not like Akito is separate as the like god figure. So I think she said that, explained it in a way that also makes sense here, and it's pretty clear. Yeah,
I don't know if it was just like a difference in translation, but I do think it was like somehow clearer in the anime, just like sort of her like, because like I remember I looked back at it, it's like she says like something like the curse that binds everyone, blah blah blah, and says like also binds God or whatever, but it just like shows kind of a, I don't know, it just seemed like less striking somehow in the manga than like her like thinking of it and then like kind of going wide-eyed and then going like binds Akito. Like,
yeah, like it's funny because it's exactly the same scene, but the dialogue is different. So it says the curses, and then she says the curses, the mysterious change that bind all the members of the zodiac. The curse that binds everyone binds God ? Which I think you might have said word for word just now. I don't know if you're looking at it too, but
I'm not. But okay. I'm proud of my memory.
You're pretty good. It was good, and but it shows Akito walking away like Akito's back, just like in the anime. But yeah, I think saying binds Akito also makes that clearer.
Yeah.
Somehow. It's the same scene, but just slightly different.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a real slight difference, and like I don't even know if it's,
I don't know,
like just a translation choice or if it was actually slightly different in the manga and anime. But
it could have been. I don't have the original Japanese one with me.
Yeah, but I think it's effective. Like,
yes, I agree.
Just the change from God to Akito.
In summary, I agree. I think they're doing a good job of, and like it could have been purposefully ambiguous in the original dialogue. I think like Natsuki Takaya, I think we've seen evidence in both the translation and in like the original Japanese that there are things that are like purposely kept vague for a long time.
Yeah, I do think the anime has the benefit of like
being done,
having the full story out in front of it and like choosing what it wants to to do with all that information. So
Yeah, that's true.
like in like the way it's like in the changes just into like the order of some of the episodes and events and kind of condensing some things and
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
yeah.
So you get a lot of things. I think they make little changes to make the story a little bit easier a little bit clearer, like up front.
Yeah.
Which I don't think like ruins any suspense or anything. I think it just
it's a difference in like, but the medium itself and also like the scale of the medium because like the manga is released over a really long period of time.
years.
Yeah.
Right?
So like there's there's a benefit to having like build up and more ambiguous foreshadowing kind of stuff. Whereas if you're trying to tell like a tighter like however many episode anime, like you can kind of like cut some of that. Ooh,
Yeah,
what's
probably.
going on? Tune in next month kind of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't have any other things to say that aren't spoilery. Don't think.
I don't think so.
We just have established Toru's resolve to break the curse. I still find it interesting they didn't make this quite a mid-series finale. Like it's,
Yeah, it does feel a bit like a bit of a finale. Like,
well, there's fireworks. That's how you know it's a finale.
Yeah. Like I was kind of wondering. I was like, I wonder if we'll get a new opening
I don't know.
next episode, but I don't know if we will or not. It just kind of felt like it, kind of an ending of, since we've been at the beach for so long.
Yes, I mean we'll see.
With
we'll
a
see what
significant
happens.
reveal and kind of a significant change to like character motivations and stuff. So it kind of felt like a mid-season finale without actually being in that right position to be a mid-season finale. It's like a third season finale.
It's episode 10, so yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a nearly mid-season finale.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. We'll see what happens next. I'm intrigued. All right, seamless segue into next time we're going to talk about episode 11, which is called All Mine. So that'll be a good time. And also we'll talk about spoilers for a sec after this. Yee. Yay. Okay, good. We'll see you all next time for that then.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, we are back to talk about the spoilers.
Yay.
All of them. Yay.
All the spoilers.
We were talking before about Ren and Akito. In a non-spoilery way. There was something you said that you wanted to say that was spoilery?
Yeah, I was just kind of like, just to elaborate on it a little more, I liked how they, like the way that transition made it like more of a sharp connection between her being mad at Ren and then being mad at Tohru. Like that woman obviously is referring to both of them by the end.
Yeah.
And like we've just read in the manga about like how thoroughly connected her hatred of Tohru is to her hatred of Ren. So
It was a good. I liked that part of this episode where it was like Akito and Shigure together, and then Kureno comes, and then Akito's sassy, then Akito goes and changes and is like that woman, and then goes to Tohru. It was a nice. I think because we know all the stuff that's going on, it makes sense where it's like the issue. Akito's bringing up the issue of like Shigure and Ren's relationship, and then Ren's also causing trouble at the main house, which is part of the, like the bigger Soma family issues that we talked about recently, and then it goes into Tohru.
Yeah.
All her problems are about Ren. We talked about this.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. It was a good set of like tension building moments.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. Another little thing in that scene, the scene with the giving the flower.
Oh yeah.
In the manga, it just shows like a picture of like hands holding.
Oh really?
Like obviously, it's like I looked back at it because I was like, I don't remember a flower scene at this point.
Yeah.
It just has like a little like faded scene of like I'm assuming like Shigure holding Akito's hand.
Yeah. I don't think they had the flower scene yet in the anime either.
Yeah, I think we've seen like flowers associated with Akito.
Yes.
Like that flower, but I don't think we've had that specific like of Shigure giving the flower.
It's from later in the manga, so I don't think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, and then there's a flower, and then there's this. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also brought those flowers back at the end of the episode with the the curse binds Akito 2 scene.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Like
That's
in the
good call.
Yeah, in the manga it was just more generic looking flowers, but it was specifically the Akito associated flowers in the anime, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, I think Akito's flower was somewhat unset at this point still. I mean, it's like it's used, but sometimes it's not. Like, not for every single thing, like you just said. So.
Yeah. What, did we decide they were like camellias or something?
Yeah. I remember what it's called in Japanese, I think. I think it's like a Japanese camellia. Yeah, Camellia japonica. Anyway. Yes, so it's Akito's flower. That's nice. That's cool. I didn't notice that it was being used in that one part of that scene as well, which is cool. So yeah, I think we also touched on this briefly, but I think it's interesting how the anime does a good job at emphasizing Rin's behavior as being protective of Haru rather than something else. I said it before, but we can talk about it very freely in the spoilers, which is nice. I liked that. I liked her kind of like they added her at the end, kind of like watching the fun and then leaving.
Yeah.
With the resolution that everything will be okay, I guess.
Yeah. And also like showing like she's very much like isolated from the rest of the group at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, I want to set off fireworks.
I like the sparklers that with the paper wrapped around them.
Yeah.
She's like, I like those weird snake things.
Yeah.
She's like, that is the best one. Why did they set that one off first?
Yeah. That's why she becomes friends with Tohru, because she's like, it is worth seeing.
That was the whole basis of her friendship. The only other spoiler that I have is like the scene with Kyo and Momiji, of course, is like Momiji is like, oh, I'm selfish for wanting to spend more time with Tohru because I love her so much. And in the like manga, it was translated slightly differently. Like, it was like, oh, I just like her. Yeah. And I was like, oh. Yeah, I did. And then Kyo's like, oh, I'm selfish too.
Yeah, with the specifically like him saying like, I'm selfish for loving Tohru so much.
I'm sure they specifically
choice there, I think. Yeah.
Chose that instead of like, even though I'm sure that it's ambiguous.
It's Daisuke.
Probably.
I heard it. Yeah.
That's definitely love then.
Yeah.
That's so emphatic. But yeah, and so Kyo, it established the Momiji, Kyo, Tohru love triangle situation.
Yeah.
And then he also comes and sits with that. I mean, all this stuff happens at the end, but it was very like obvious. Like, you have this scene where like Yuki and Tohru are sitting together, and Momiji comes and sits with them, and then they get Kyo to come too. So they have this like everybody who's the potential love interest for Tohru scene.
Toru's harem boy.
Oh, I was trying to remember if somebody made a joke about that in the actual series. I can't remember. I don't think so. They always talk about them being so beautiful, all the somas. Kakeru is like, are all of you beautiful?
Yeah.
Any other things, spoiler things or things? Oh wait, what is this all mine? What is that a reference to? What did the internet tell you?
It's the
I want to know.
Kagura and Kyo backstory.
Oh, where she's like,
she has the thing where she's just like that. The Kyo from that time is like
mine alone. Yes.
Yeah.
How dare? Where's my Hattori Mayuko stuff?
Yeah. Well, I doubt it's gonna be only that because that's a pretty short amount of content. But I don't know what else they're gonna.
Yeah, it's probably like half an episode. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're good at picking like random junk from different parts of the manga that goes together. So.
Yeah.
That's also seems farther away.
It's really not. It's just like
look at my list.
Chapters because I was looking through it. Like, I was briefly looking at the like post beach content, and we've got that. That's like a couple chapters after, and we've got like Tohru talking to Kazuma. And
Toru's grandpa is sick. Oh yeah, it says Tohru actually show about the curse. The next one is Tohru actually show about the curse and Kyo and Kagura backstory. That's what it says in my list.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's only one chapter, so maybe it is that. Yeah. Maybe those things happen.
So I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna combine those two, or if maybe they're gonna do the like student council full introduction stuff.
When will the night school doctor find his romance? I'm sure they'll bring it back. They can't not, but
yeah.
Can they? I mean, then forever it'll be like, well, Fruits Basket 2019 was great, except for the fact that they they erased like Tori and Maiko's relationship.
I feel like they would keep it just because like the ending has such an emphasis on like showing everyone's like happy endings and stuff.
Wow.
And, like they kept in like Ritsu and
Mitsu. They added stuff with
Michan,
Mitsu.
like,
yeah, Michan.
So, I mean,
I always call her
if you were
Mitsu.
gonna drop a romance, I would drop that one. Like,
well, it was basically dropped from the manga.
yeah.
Yeah, they like substituted like Michan in a whole scene that Toru's in, which was great, but not what happened in the manga. I'm fine with it. But anyway, it was no. Where's my night school doctor teacher romance?
Yeah, it'll probably come up. I just don't know when.
Better. I mean, or else, as
maybe
Akito
it
would
will
say.
come up next week. Combined with the Kagura stuff. Be a weird choice, but they could.
I mean, it's entirely plausible. It just would be
we'll
very
just keep
unrelated.
talking about it in the spoiler section every week until it happens.
Oh, I will. You hear
even
me?
If it's the very,
you hear me?
Even if it's the finale episode, we'll be like, maybe next week.
Until
maybe
next
release
time.
a bonus episode with.
It's actually going to be on a like OVA or whatever.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. I don't have any things that I want to talk about this time.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. Next time we'll talk about whatever happens next time in episode 11.
Kagura and Kyo and who knows what else.
Yeah. Maybe they'll just somehow extend it for the whole time.
Yeah. I feel like I saw like some of the like preview screenshots that had non-Kagura Kyo stuff, but I wasn't paying that much attention, so I don't know who else was involved.
I didn't I was so behind because of my test that I was working on that I like forbid myself from looking at Tumblr. I didn't finish watching the episode till today. It's Saturday.
Yeah, so, like I didn't really it's just, like I didn't really go looking for it. I just happened to see it. And so that's where I was like, oh, that's what it's about, but
No.
that's why I don't remember anything else about it. So
We'll see. All right, good. We'll see you next time then.
I'll see.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We probably could have set up the like smoky snaky thing. I have no idea what that is though either. I've never seen that. They did have those what looked like the sparklers with the terrifying paper around them that burned me as a child. I can't remember we talked about this before. I feel like we talked about this on the podcast before.
Probably the last time we were talking about summer.
Probably.
Yeah, the paper ones are bad. I liked the ones with like the weird like gunpowdery stuff on the end.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind them until one burned my head, and I still have a scar from it. So, no big deal.
Yeah, the paper ones were always like the burny ones.
Yeah, exactly, because it has fire and sparks, instead of the one that's just like gunpowdery with sparks.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hold a sparkler until I was maybe in. This happened when I was like in second grade, so probably like 7 or 8 or something. Maybe even earlier than that. And then I wouldn't even hold one, even the regular kind, until I was like in high school. And I think the last time I used one was when I was in university. So it was like almost 10 years ago. Probably 10 years ago.
We used to get those little like popper things that weren't like the things where you just like toss them on the sidewalk and they pop.
Yeah.
The snappers, poppers, whatever they were called.
I don't know what they're called, but I know what you're
talking about. Because we were
always
on military bases, so that like actual fireworks weren't allowed, even little ones.
Yeah.
Although there's always like someone who would like set them off illegally like the day before any kind of firework event.
So they wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah, because the MPs weren't patrolling yet. And then I think it was when we lived in Virginia, because it's the first time we like owned a house.
Yeah.
For like a short period, like that was not military
On a
house
base.
in a long time. Yeah, so we like bought a bunch of the little fireworks we were allowed to set off. Yeah, it's like the first time we had like it was like we like owned it or rented it, I don't know. And it was in a place where you were allowed to set off some fireworks. So we like excitedly bought up like a whole ton of them and like set up a little
just
platform
like Kyo.
and everything. Yeah,
just like Shisho. Yeah, you have to. We had this one board that we always used every year that was covered in soot from all the previous ones.
Yeah, we got like a little board and it's everything. Was it Virginia? Was that where we had the little awning outside?
I
like
don't remember. I vaguely remember what your house looked like in Virginia. It might have had an awning.
Yeah, but it was wherever it was. We had
did.
like the little like outside like covered awning kind of area. And so we had like a lineup of them. Like we decided what order they were gonna go in, like Momiji did. And so we had like a lineup like set up on the like
It's really
the
cute.
edge of the awning, and like we moved them down as we set them all off.
Maybe this is like a cultural consistency between everywhere, where it's just like you have to decide the order of the fireworks. Like that's very important. Because I think we also used to be like, okay, like this one's not as exciting, and then we got like 2 of these, so we have to do this one early, and then this one again later. And then everybody be like, oh, I like that one. So then it's like, this one's my favorite one, and then we'd have one big one at the end. And then in my case, our neighbors on, not like our direct neighbors, but people on the neighborhood street, like one street over, would set off the illegal kind that went really high in the air. So we got to watch their illegal fireworks for free and from a safe distance from our roofs. So that was exciting.
I remember we had like several that were like, they just kind of like flashed, like it was like, what the heck is the word now?
Like a strobe.
Yeah, strobe. Yeah, it was like a strobe flash basically, and like after the first one, my dad would like go out and, like dance in front of them, saying he was doing like a flash dance.
Oh yeah, we definitely used to do that too. I remember doing that, and we would all be like, "Oh yay, we're like in slow motion, lol," because you know, we were children.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Children
We've never.
And my dad.
I just want to point out to like the world that we've been friends since middle school. We've never talked about this before, so I don't know how this has never come up, but it's really funny. I haven't done fireworks myself in like a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they probably will cancel it, but normally they do. There's like a bunch of big parks. Like there's a big park near our house where they do big fireworks, and we can see them from our house and stuff sometimes. Like we can see the big ones. I've never been to the actual park. I wonder if they'll actually. They probably won't let people go to the park, but I don't even know if they'll set them off.
Yeah.
A sad day for Canada. I mean,
they'll probably set off fireworks here.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit there. Yeah. They're like, it's our right to have haircuts and set off fireworks. You'll have to wait for 2 hours at the fireworks, like the side of the road, like phantom fireworks stand. But God forbid anybody in America not be able to set off fireworks for the goddamn 4th of July.
Like it's my God-given right to blow stuff up.
It's your it's in the
Bill
Bill of Rights. Yes. Little known fact: are you preparing for your American citizenship test? The right to set off fireworks is in the Constitution. Everybody knows that. I mean, they have gunpowder. It's kind of like the right to bear arms, right?
Yeah. You're like, this is
backtrack on my joke.
This is how I defend myself.
Stay away from
fireworks.
Me. Bottle rocket. Pointed at the face. Okay, what were we talking about?
Yeah, I think
summer.
Yeah, it was
I was
right
talking
after
about
the
fireworks.
bottle rocket joking because we were talking about the don't try this at
don't
home.
worry, Joe. You can judge it, or you can judge it. You can dodge it. Wow.